He's a great asset to have with his knowledge, and he's very knowledgeable of the system, how it works here. So, Judge, having said that, congratulations on being appointed chairman.
Thank you for the congratulations. I feel like I got demoted. I was here 36 years ago, 26 years ago, and then I appointed Judge Giroulo, and then I appointed Judge Gibbons. So I believe that Judge Gibbons was getting back at me by appointing me to get back on
He
it.
actually explicitly said that.
So with that being said, I look forward to the challenges and that we face going forward, and to work with all of you. At this time, I look for 25-3034, a motion to approve all current payables for the Community Corrections Center and Prison.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
On 25-3035, a motion to approve the use of canteen funds for the payment of Dan Demuth for a study done on solitary confinement and penal disciplinary methods. The Prison Board commissioned a study of the disciplinary use for Dan Demuth at the request of the board, undertook such a study and conducted a thorough review of the use of restrictive housing and what is sometimes referred to as solitary confinement as a security and/or disciplinary tool in the penal system. Both historically and in modern texts, Mr. Demuth provided the board an extensive review of the use of such disciplinary methods, reports on various studies and alternative measures, and suggestions for further implementation of the disciplinary and security measures. For everyone's edification, they are presently on the county website, his report. And at this time, it's for the authorization, Dan Demuth having spent 68 documented hours conducting such study and preparing such report at the rate of $162 per hour. The prison board needs to approve the payment of $11,050 to be paid from the canteen funds. There is also a breakdown that Mr. Demuth provided to the board consisting of the hours that he put in and the individuals that he met with. So I'd ask for such a motion.
Motion.
Second.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Controller's report?
Yes, Judge. Controller's report of the prison inmate and canteen accounts for June of 2025. The Controller's Office reviewed the prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations, which were prepared by the Prison Business Office for the month of May of 2025, and found no discrepancies between the reconciliations and the bank statement. The balance in the inmate account was $464,703.89 as of June 30th, 2025. The balance in the canteen checking account was $612,753.91 as of June 30th, 2025. In addition, as of June 1st, the canteen account also included a balance in the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust investment accounts of a total of $947,826.42, which is earning approximately $3,455 monthly, and which will mature in July of 2025. Actually, on July 11th, recently, $858,002.49 did mature, and with a vote at our previous meeting, it was renewed for an additional 6-month period at 4.35%, which was down just slightly from 4.4%. And on July 24th, approximately $110,556 will mature, which has been earning 4.42%, and we will need a vote at today's meeting to renew that at the current rates, whatever they may be, come July 24th of 2025. And during the month of June of 2025, $73,109.55 was paid from the canteen account for the benefit, welfare, and education of county prison inmates. And an itemized detail of those expenses are attached to my report. And that concludes my report, Judge.
Okay, Could we start off, could we have a motion to renew that account?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any other questions in regard to the report? Move on to the Community Corrections Report. Norm?
Good afternoon, everyone. All right, I'd like to apologize for...
Excuse me, Norm.
Yep.
Could we have a motion to
Did you have something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
accept the report from the Controller?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Norm?
Okay. All right. I'd like to apologize. First, we're still working on house arrest revenues. It's a clerical thing, but we're going to be getting there soon. For the month of June, house arrest had 151 participants, juvenile had 23. The program revenues for juvenile was $4,440 for a total of $25,554 year-to-date. Programs expenses is $73,590.10. Programs completions was 40. Programs violations was 5. We still have 3 outstanding warrants for house arrest. Budget report overall, overtime's at 9%, expenses at 47%, and revenues at 19%. And obviously, we get this clerical thing straightened out, their revenues will be up. And that's the end of my report.
Questions? Motion to accept the report.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Warden's report. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Good afternoon, Board. The average daily population for June was 636 inmates, 493 were county inmates. We averaged 577 adult males, 4 juvenile males, and 55 adult females. And the average daily population of U.S. Marshal detainees was 143. Our overtime and out-of-county boarding reports are attached. The staffing update, currently our correctional officer numbers break down to 171 full-timers on shift, 6 out on workers' comp, 0 on continuous FMLA, with 81 having intermittent FMLA, 0 on I'm sorry, let me correct that. There's 1 on administrative leave, and we have 5 vacancies for a total of 182 full-time officers. So with that quick adjustment I just did, it's 170 correctional officers on shift, not 171. The budget as of June 30th, revenues at 48% and expenses are at 48%. Extraordinary occurrence reports, there were 4 in the month of June. On June 2nd, a male inmate informed us that he was suicidal and he began to act out. He began to physically resist an attempt to move him to a camera cell, and a decision was made to place him in the emergency restraint chair so that he could be safely moved to a camera cell. On June 5th, 2 male inmates got into a fight and a homemade weapon was involved. To bring the fight to a halt, staff dispensed OC spray. However, one of the combatants continued assaulting the other one, and staff were able to gain control of the situation, and they placed the continuing combative inmate into the emergency restraint chair for the safety of everyone involved. On June 23rd, a female was committed to the prison who was combative with the officers who were bringing her in. Staff efforts to calm her down were ineffective. She was non-compliant with efforts to process her and continued to scream and shout in an erratic manner. Due to her aggressiveness, a decision was made to place her in the emergency restraint chair for the safety of everyone involved. And on June 24th, a male inmate was observed to have removed the bolts which secured his bed to the floor from his bed, and he was refusing to let staff move him to another cell so that the damage could be assessed. To safely enter the cell and move him to another cell, staff had to utilize the pepper ball launcher. Shortly thereafter, the individual complied with the process and he was moved to another cell. PREA, there was 1 PREA investigation completed in the month of June. It was an inmate allegation of sexual contact, and it was deemed unfounded. The completed investigation was forwarded to the DA's office for review. And personnel, there are several personnel matters to be discussed if the board opts to go into executive session. And this concludes my report.
Executive session now?
Do it now, or you could let the public address the board and then.
Let's do it that way. Okay. Then we'll call you back, Warden. Let's address the next issue. At this time, the opportunity for the public to address the board.
I'm sorry, I just have a comment on the report, if I may. This is good news, and I want to thank you again publicly. And I know we talked about this a couple meetings ago, but if you look at the overtime report in the prison, last year, actually through July 1st of this year, we spent $668,069.72 on overtime. Last year, at the same time, we were at $1.5 million in overtime. So if you remember last year, when we were all pulling our hair out because of the financial disaster that I walked into, we said we have to get this overtime down. So I want to thank you and your entire administrative staff for taking everything we said seriously and instituting several measures that if we are $893,587.66 less this year than we were at this point last year. So all the things we're doing are making a difference. We know that overtime is a necessary evil, but we have it under control at the prison. It can be done, and I just want to publicly thank you and your staff again for taking it seriously, and it's making a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to give you percentages, because I'm a math nerd, I don't know if you knew that, it's we're at 27% of our allotted overtime budget at this point. 50% through the year, 27%. So we are doing good, and I hope we can continue that.
And just so the public understands, this is so important, especially digging ourselves out of the hole that we're in financially, because this year is going to be tight again in terms of cash. So it makes a huge difference. So thank you.
Opportunity for the public to address the board.
Joan,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon. Joan Hodawan at Scranton. Judge Brace, I'd like to welcome you to the prison board. Judge Gibbons did a fine job with, his only failure was training up Gary DeBilio to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sorry.
But I suspect you'll be able to
I will work
correct
with them on
that.
that.
If you last 7 years like Judge
Okay.
Gibbons did, hopefully by the end of 7 years, he will get it right.
I'll
But
work on that, Joan.
yeah, Gary does great work with reinvesting the canteen funds and getting the biggest bang for the buck for the taxpayer. But, just need to fine tune. Reggie will help you, I'm sure. Don't laugh. But, I was distinctly promised a new warden, and what the hell are you still doing here? And then Billy Gahn starts complimenting him. You'll never get rid of him now. So, huh?
You came up here and complimented him.
I know, but I was when I thought he was leaving. I would never say if I knew he was going to stay, Well, at any rate, welcome, Judge Brace. I've been very impressed by the work that the prison board's accomplished in the last few years. Everything from reestablishing, the high school graduate, what is it,
GED.
Yeah, and reestablishing library access electronic tablets so that the prisoners have something, to read. There's been a lot of progress made that's not very obvious to the general public. And a lot of that's been done without, a lot of money being invested, and I just hope that the trend continues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Others?
My name is Denise Brown. I'm from Troop.
Good afternoon.
Judge Brace, I've been an advocate for prisoners for probably 7 years now. And as Joan said, we have seen progress. I'm very grateful for that. I did submit some questions for the warden to addressed. Did you receive those? Okay, so rather than me read them, if I could just ask if you could just address our concerns, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you, were you indicating now?
Yes.
Wondering if you're prepared to?
I'm going to check and see if I brought them with me. I intended to bring them with me.
I have my copy.
I think I got my copy.
Thank you.
I think I have the copy from last month. So if you have a copy, I can certainly.
Okay.
It may have been last month because I went to this building instead of the prison.
Okay. All right, let's see. There are about 10 items here. Ms. Brown mentioned, she asked the question, has sewage backing up into the prison during heavy rains been rectified? My response to that is that we haven't had sewage backing up into the prison. We did have an issue with the heavy rainfalls from 2 weeks ago where one of the drain spouts draining the roof actually burst because of the pressure that was involved, and water several inches from what I'm told got on the floor there. It's not sewage, didn't back up, but it was also cleaned up, and that drain pipe was addressed and fixed by our maintenance department. And it had everything to do with that overflow. If you remember a couple of weeks ago with that storm on Thursday or Friday, it felt like several inches fell in an hour. I'm sure they did. The next question is, has the practice of rationing menstrual pads been reviewed and changed? No, we don't ration menstrual pads. We give them out whenever they're needed. Bad information, I think, may have gotten out on that one. Next question is, anyone monitoring the care provided by the healthcare provider to ensure the $5 million taxpayer-funded service is meeting the healthcare needs of those incarcerated? I can answer by telling you that I've received a monthly bill every month that I authorize payment for from the new healthcare provider, Armor Health. It is 1/12 of what their projected budget is for a year. And I just recently received news of what we call a true-up. It's kind of a reconciliation. And it's good news for the county in that we'll be getting some money back. I don't want to say overpaid, but they're coming on their budget. So that's a benefit to the county in that at this point in time, after the first quarter, there's a reconciliation in favor of the county, a little over $100,000. As far as following up with the quality of medical care, I'm not qualified to do that. I'm not being silly here. I don't have any medical background, and I would assume that you might be implying that. I'm not really sure, but I'm incapable of assessing a medical provider's medical care level, other than dealing with grievances that I might get, and I haven't gotten any grievances. Next question was, is the healthcare provider living up to its presentation to provide quality mental health assistance to inmates, especially as it relates to the use of the ERC, the emergency restraint chair? In honesty, I don't have something in front of me telling me what they did in their presentation. I believe you might be referring to a presentation done by a gentleman named Rex Caldwell at a prison board meeting, but I can't point at anything specific. I know that they have a mental health team consisting of, if I remember correctly, about 5 individuals. They see people that it's headed up by the psychiatrist that they subcontract out with. They have a mental health physician's assistant or psychiatric assistant. They got a couple of employees, 2 or 3 that are mental health professionals holding master's degrees. I know that when we have people on watches, they see them all the time. They see them very frequently. I shouldn't say all the time, that implies constant. But they see them very frequently. And I don't have any complaints about the mental health supervision, if you will. Next question is, when can women expect to be given outdoor recreation time again? Women have been getting outdoor recreation time like the men have been. There have been some hiccups because of the roofing project that's ongoing at the prison. As you know, it's a very large roof because it's a very large building, and the yards, the outdoor yards, are encircled by roof. So when the roofers are too close to a yard, we have to shut that yard down. And so what that means is, I'm pretty sure yesterday, unfortunately, the women, I checked yesterday when I read these questions, the women did not get outdoor rec yesterday because of where they were working. They did get it the day before. And we are trying to provide them with 2 hours outdoors every day when weather is permitting. If it's not outdoors, we do have indoor gyms as well. But and we're almost done with that roofing project, from what I'm told by our maintenance department. We have a couple weeks left, and that's it. Next question was, the annual contract for OneDrive online book contract is due for renewal this fall. Prior to renewal with OneDrive, will OneDrive provide stats showing how often the $16,000 annual program is being used? In this case here, it's Ms. Brown, contacted OneDrive and was told that the books can be added by contacting our local library. And she asks, has Bev's request to add Marked for Life to the library been reviewed? I don't have information on whether, how it breaks down, if OneDrive can show us how often the program is being used. I don't know. We have not had an opportunity to reach out to see if they can even provide that statistic. And as far as books being added, I know when we first contracted with them, we were told it was a set thing and that we couldn't do that. So I'm not really sure there. I can check again with them to see if there are specific books that we can have added, or if it's something, because this is the same program they use in the Department of Corrections, if it's a one-size-fits-all kind of thing where people who are in the state prison system have access to the same books, and it's not customizable to a county facility. I don't know the answer to that, but I will look into that. Next question is, during the September 2024 board meeting, Warden Betty stated that it would be possible to use classroom space for a paperback library. What needs to be done to expedite this program? This one, I'll take the blame for, fell off my radar. Nobody mentioned it to me. I should have thought of it myself. I'm thinking of it now, and we'll look into it. But what needs to be expedited, I would have to get a quote and go through my maintenance department for how much it would cost for renovations to turn a classroom into a library. And I know we talked about it a little less than a year ago. I made no progress on it because it fell off my radar. Next question is, have any conversations taken place this September 2024 regarding the county literacy committee's offer to conduct literacy assessments of those incarcerated in the prison? No, I haven't had any contact with anyone. I welcome it. I don't have control over that, but I welcome it if those folks are still interested in providing literacy assessments. It could tie in nicely with our GED program and with other functions, our needs assessments that we do. So it could tie in very nicely. 2 more questions left. Is there or has there been a woman in solitary for over 6 months? No, there has not been. I saw this question yesterday. I took a look to see who was in the housing unit that would house someone if they were in any type of enhanced security status, and nobody's there for 6 months. Matter of fact, there were 3 women in P block, which is where our camera cell would be if it was a mental health case. And the longest someone was there was just over 2 months. I didn't look to see if that person was there because they were classified as special handling or if they were there for disciplinary reasons. And unfortunately, both things can happen over the course of time. People that have mental health issues, just like people who don't have mental health issues, can sometimes violate the rules of the institution and get ordered time to do in disciplinary custody. So I don't really know exactly why she's been in that status for that long. We do review things on a weekly basis. We have a classification committee, and they review everyone. And I know that when you have a long-term thing like that, we do take a look at that, and those that the mental health team from Armor Health, as well as our own staff, when they come to an agreement that this individual is deserving of an opportunity to get out there, we don't like keeping people in any kind of enhanced supervision mode. And what I mean by that is certain classifications. And the final question might actually be a couple of questions, because it's a paragraph line. The quality of food provided to inmates has been brought up multiple times. Last month, Mr. Bolzoni presented costs associated with feeding inmates and staff. It was also stated that Warden Betty has had no complaints about the meals provided to inmates. Last year, prison board members were provided the same lunch that inmates received on that day. They all noted that the meal was good. So why are we paying nearly 3 times for staff members? As a taxpayer, I'm requesting that the RFP be reviewed and revised prior to its release next year for the county to contract to pay one price for all meals provided. At the current rate for inmate meals, that would be a cost savings of over $130 annually. Just real quick, I don't know if anybody took advantage of it. I had meals that were sent out to the where the metal detector was at the jail last month. If anybody, it was there. If anybody wanted to try them, I don't know that any of you even were aware of it, because I think Judge Gibbons meant to mention it during the meeting. I think he forgot to mention it. So there was 10 or 15 meals waiting out there. And I don't know what the meals were. Again, I haven't been getting complaints from the inmate population. There is a discrepancy or a difference in the amount per meal paid for staff meals compared to the inmate meals. That's something that has been in place, and I'm not going to weigh in either way. It's those that make that decision next year when the RFP goes out for food service. That's something that I guess can be considered. But you're right with your calculations. There would be a savings of about $130,000 a year if the staff were provided with the same meals at the same cost for the inmate population. And that's everything on here.
Thank you. Any other members of the public? Good afternoon.
Hi, thanks. Bev DeBarros from Scranton. Welcome to our world, Judge Burrace. I was thinking back when Judge Girollo was in your position here, and I asked if we could have books, paperback books, available, to the inmates. And he liked that idea. We incorporated it. Deputy Warden Langen was very familiar with it because it had been instituted in the previous position where he held in another jail. And Sergeant Piga also was very good. We ended up with 10 volunteers who came in, and we had, they're checking the time, who came in, and we had 4 library book carts. We had 2 members went in at a time, 5 times a week. We covered every block, and we have all the records from that. That was in 2017, and then for 3 years we had this program. I have the numbers at home. Like one report I gave for the whole year was over 7,000 transactions of people coming, getting a book, returning a book, getting another book. So that was very good. And something else about that. Anyway, that was a good thing that we did. Then was COVID, and then came Judge Gibbons to your position. And I brought up every year that I've been here that we needed to have voter registration within the jail. Finally, Judge Gibbons said, yes, we need to have that. In fact, He said, "Do it, Bev." That wasn't what I was asking, but I did it. And this will be our 3rd year for that. And again, we're having volunteers, and they go through clearance, and that's what I was going to mention about Sergeant Piga. He had classes for each of our new volunteers, the 10 that came for the books. So that's sort of ongoing. It's has its rough moments, really, but we should continue that. Also, in conjunction with that, I said to Judge Gibbons, now that we're having these voters, they need to be informed. So that he said, "What do you suggest?" I said, "Newspapers and access to news on the mail on the TVs." So right at that very meeting, he said, "Okay, what do you think? How many subscriptions?" And I said, 60. And he said, "Make it 80." And ever since, and to this day, the Scranton Times is delivered in the jail. And it's very helpful in there. So that brings us to today, and I have 2 requests. One, I've brought this before, benches for in the yards, so-called yards, outside where the recreation area is. You know, it's just a concrete floor. 3 sides of this triangle are 3 floors of brick buildings, and just that little triangle of sunlight comes down. We need benches in there, and I'm suggesting the ones made from recycled plastic, which would never need maintenance, painting, anything like that. That we have grandmothers in our jail, and to go out there and stand or sit on concrete for their rec time in the summer when it's hot, or in the cooler months, the cement is cold. I just don't get this. The other need that I bring today is, I should have said, I'm a volunteer in there for Women's Bible Study on Tuesday. And lately we've been showing portions of the series of The Chosen, Life of Christ and the Disciples. And it's very helpful. But the screen that we use is old. First it started with lines coming down the side. Now we only get a half a screen. If you can imagine, just the bottom half is what we see. It's a nice big TV actually hooked up to our DVD thing. And that was donated, Jane Augustine from Outreach, who has since retired, she sort of said we could have the use of that. And we did get good use out of it, but it really needs to be replaced, and the sooner the better on that. I appreciate it. It's kept in the little office that's kept locked off the chapel. So that's where that is. There's more, but I'll stop now. And with thanks to everybody for listening, especially about that book that Denise brought up. I wish she would elaborate more on that, but she did make contact, and I hope somebody goes forward with that we could get books added to the books that are available.
Thank you. I think the warden indicated he is going to look to see whether or not that could be done. Warden, I just asked that the bench, I can understand, might be a security concern. So if you at least take a look at that and see whether one could be there, and also address security concerns with that. And then obviously the TV is something we can look at out of the funds, the canteen funds, and take a look and see what we can do to replace that. Thank you. Any other concerns? With that being said, look to move to executive session. On the warrants, no, that's what we're going to do after executive session. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Brian, are we back on? Yes, sir. Okay. At this time, the executive session is completed. At this time, a motion to accept the warden's action in regard to a notice of termination.
Motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pardon me? And also a motion to accept the warden's report.
So moved. Second.
All in question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? At this time, we will adjourn. Thank you.
Members